What's up, man? What's going on? BFF reports, filming. It's by the time it's like Thursday. What are you doing? Switch it up. Doing World of Warcraft 4.3, 5-mans. You get in there, Phantom Knife, do some video, read the Dungeon Journal, and package it up, make it a little nice BAM episode. People love that stuff, man. People want to see World of Warcraft stuff. I thought you said Dark Soul for a second. Oh, you did.
The first thing you're gonna do when you get into Dark Souls is you have to make a character. It's character creation, just like we see in some other games. And first thing you do is you name yourself, and I figured since I already kind of know what I'm getting myself into here, I'm gonna go ahead and name myself accordingly. Next thing you're going to do is choose your class. There's tons here to choose from, and one for pretty much every gameplay style you could think of. I decided to roll with a Pyromancer first, and I completely failed at that. And then I decided, because my first run through, and it was just kind of dumb, and so I decided to re-roll as a Knight, and I actually had a much easier time. It also kind of helped that I actually found my primary weapon before going too much further, whereas initially I didn't, and I was actually running around like beating people with hilts, and it was taking me forever, and I wanted to punch myself in the penis. The game is an action-based RPG. It's kind of like Witcher, but every time you die, they send you back to the last save point, which is usually way far away, respawn all the monsters, and take all of your money, and take all of your experience. And from what I can gather, this is souls, right? You collect them, lower right corner right there, that's your soul count. I'm also told by the Dark Soul Hipster Backgammon Club that this isn't nearly as punishing as the previous version, Demon Souls. No one cares. At least, nobody on the Xbox cares, right? Now, I mentioned them taking all of your stuff, and actually, they didn't really take it. It's just kind of laying on the ground waiting for you to come and recover it. No problem, right? Well, keep in mind, everything has spawned, again, and you have to get to it without dying again. So what happens is, if you die while you're going to retrieve your souls, then that first stack of souls is now gone forever. So if you have 5 billion souls and you're like, yeah, just rolling in the souls, and then you die and they fall on the ground and you're like, oh, I just gotta go back and get it. So you're fighting your way through it and you make like a stupid mistake and you die, it is now gone permanently. You see, in a regular RPG, you're given a few options that will assist you in your experience, because in most cases, they're trying to let you experience the game, not so much experience the pain of dying over and over again. One of those things is like a comfortable inn. So whenever you save at an inn and then you run out and you die, you go back to the inn, and then you could turn around and buy consumables or gear or something, right, from the lovely innkeeper or the blacksmith, and then you go back out and you're better equipped for the challenge. Now, in Dark Souls, you do have the benefit of keeping your gear, thank God, but without everything else, you're basically starting all over again. The other cool feature is the pause button, right? The pause mechanic. Wow, who'd have thought that that was something we would end up taking for granted, right? Yes, in Dark Souls, you cannot pause the game. I even tried hitting the Xbox button in the middle of the controller, thinking that would actually pause the game, right? I was like, oh, haha, I got you guys, and push the button, did nothing. So just keep in mind that if you feel like you need to, I don't know, take a piss or something, or do anything that requires you taking your eyes off of the game, go find a dark corner somewhere and hope that you don't get discovered. Now let's go ahead and talk about combat, since we're already several minutes into this. Might be a good idea to go and cover that, right? The game teaches you combat using these little floorboards with instructions on them that are scattered throughout the level. You do stand a chance of missing one of these, which could affect your gameplay further on. But since you're watching this, I'm gonna go ahead and spoil it for you. You can lock onto monsters by pushing in the right stick. We've done this lots of times in other games, but keep in mind that you have limited movement whenever you are locked onto somebody. So for example, if you're fighting somebody and you want to run away from them, you have to actually hit the button again to unlock yourself from them, and then you can turn around and run away. Keep that in mind, because there's lots and lots of moments where you are going to want to run for obvious reasons, because the game teaches you everything in trial and error, right? And error always equals death. But error is not the only thing that equals death. That's right. Progression equals death. Now, what does that mean? Well, progression equals death, Mike B. What are you talking about? Well, as you're going through the game, you will come across situations that you have no way of foretelling, right? You just I'm gonna go ahead and go through, and then all of a sudden, gigantic bowling ball to the face. There's nothing you can do to avoid this at all. Now, in some situations, if you're super cautious, you might spot it, and you can find some way to like juke it or something, right? But if this is just in the first 20 minutes of the game, that takes you 4 hours, by the way, you will learn that these things will happen. You have no way of knowing when they will happen. Check me out. I'm running across this bridge. I know that there is a dragon coming, right? Thanks to my chat room, twitch.tv/AKMikeB, my live stream chat room. They're telling me that, hey, there's a big ass dragon that's gonna be coming down and is going to attack you. Just run and get to the right. So I'm like, okay, run to the right, and then. Now, could I have like maybe run out there a couple steps and then double back, and maybe the dragon fly over my head and light up the entire bridge? Maybe. But that specific scenario is not going to happen again because, as you can see, the dragon is now perched on the other side, and he will continue to perch himself on that wall, allowing you time to run over and seek shelter. So you see, that situation was just there to grief you. The game is trolling you, and that's all it's there for. It happens once, and it will never happen again. What an asshole. Now, since we're here, I want to go ahead and point out that you notice how I'm running naked. First off, holy crap, my guy looks really, really sick naked, right? But he runs really, really fast when he's not carrying all the gear. I don't know where the gear goes. We're not going to ask that kind of question. Somehow he runs faster when the gear comes off, and then he could put the gear back on the other side. I don't understand, but we're going to go ahead and roll with it. One of the things that they kind of give you some slack on whenever you die is if you defeat a boss, the boss is not going to reappear, thank God. But some of the bosses have these very simple mechanics that you can just kind of follow in order to defeat them. For example, this Tauren thing on this bridge is extremely simple to defeat. All you have to do is just run up the ladder, jump off, stab him in the forehead, get off, somehow make your way back around him, go up the ladder again, and drop back down. Now, I don't, this is not like a glitch or something. This is not like, oh, somebody found some way to exploit this guy. This is, I believe, actually how you're supposed to defeat this boss. Oh, pause right here. Okay, this ghostly figure here, that's another player who's playing this particular part of this game, I think right now, which is a very interesting way of integrating other players into your gameplay in a way that pretty much scares the crap out of you when they just kind of appear randomly running around doing things. From what I hear, there's also a way to do co-op in this game, but I haven't actually gotten that far. They can also leave notes for you and tips and stuff like that, but a lot of times the tips kind of come too late. Okay, now the thing that makes him hard is that you have to actually figure that out. If it wasn't for chat room actually telling me what to do, it would have taken me forever. I would have been trying to maneuver my way around this guy in order to actually get behind him to hit him a few times, you know, and he would have done some kind of sweep and it would have smashed me. And then here's the thing, sometimes when you get knocked down after being hit, you don't actually have enough time to recover. So here's another example of me fighting this other boss, right? This is the guy from Outlands in WoW. I get in and I jump down, I stab him in the face, and then I get hit, and then I'm like, okay, I'm gonna recover, and then I get hit and I'm dead. You see how quickly this whole thing just kind of turns around, and you think you have a technique and you get it down, and then you just get your ass handed to you? That's the way it is. That's the puzzle part of this game. And that's what makes this game so difficult, is because now that you're dead, you've lost your souls, and you're going all the way back to where you were before, all the mobs have respawned, and you have to do the whole thing over again. Okay, let's see, is there anything else? Let's see, whenever you level, you can assign points, right? Increase your endurance, your vitality, all of that stuff. That's important. This is an standard RPG element. There's also usable items, such as health potions, which will replenish itself every time you die. So if you're going through and you burn through all 5 of them, you die, you come back, you have 5 again. Other items, such as the fire grenade thing here, once you burn through those, then you're done. If you go through an entire playthrough and you're just like lighting dudes on fire constantly because you're just like, oh, this is amazing, I'm burning through all this content, literally, and then you die and you go back, guess what? You just wasted all of those fire bombs for nothing. And the only way to get them back is by looting mobs. And loot drops pretty much all over the place. You have treasure chests, the mobs drops them. Sometimes there's dead bodies that are already just kind of laying around in places with stuff on them. You know, they're everywhere. So you might come across a cache of a few of them, but just use them sparingly. Now, I could sit here and complain about how difficult this game is forever. You guys have probably already seen tons of reviews and read them that said, you know, this game is so hard, blah, blah, blah. But the thing about this game's difficulty is that it is not one that turns you off from playing the game. I've played games in the past that were so difficult for stupid reasons that I've walked away. I was like, wow, that game's really dumb. But this game has found a way of kicking you in the f***ing balls, and then the next day, you're like, well, balls feel fine this morning. I guess I'll go ahead and give another shot. That sounds really painful. But I think you guys get the point. They found a way of making this terrible experience enjoyable, and f*** them for doing that. Oh, are you kidding me right now? Oh, that's disgusting. Rat doll physics. Oh, Jesus. Get off.